Welcome to the Legally Ever After Real Estate Podcast, where we help you build, protect, and pass on your assets. I'm your host, estate planning attorney, Pamela Moss-Garrett. Let's get started. All right, today we have Bryan Looney from iTrip Vacations Denver. He is going to be talking about best practices for short-term rentals. Welcome, Bryan.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's dig in. What are your tips? What are the best practices that people kind of going into short-term rentals or people that have short-term rentals should be keeping in mind?
Well, if you want to go or look into the short-term rental business, you have to understand the certain special market we have in the Denver metro area. Right now, you can have a short-term rental in any community within the Denver metro area unless it's not allowed by an HOA. You can have one in downtown Denver, you can have one in Wheat Ridge, you can have one in Arvada, Golden, Evergreen, Conifer, Castle Rock. Every community allows you to have one. The market around here is extremely good. Nationally, it takes a year to get a good short-term rental going. In this market, it takes less than 90 days. That's how good the market is. People in this country fly and drive to Colorado. People in this world, post-COVID, are starting to come back to Colorado. So iTrip Vacations is a franchise. We're based out of Nashville, Tennessee. I own the Denver Metro franchise. There's 13 franchises in Colorado. Right, the closest being Colorado Springs and Frisco. We buy it by area, so we're not really competitors. We work as a team. So I give referrals to Frisco, I give referrals to Colorado Springs, et cetera, and then they give referrals to me. In fact, I just received a referral from our folks down in St. Petersburg.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we do. We work very well together. iTrip is really an IT company. We place our homes on 13 platforms. And what a platform is a group of websites. Where Airbnb is a platform and one website, Vrbo is a platform with over 60 websites globally. So when you place it on Vrbo, your home spiders out to over 60 websites. iTrip Denver right now utilizes 7 of the 13 available platforms, and we have access to over 100 websites. So we have the highest conversion rate. The conversion rate is looking at someone who's looking at a property in Denver Metro to book it. So our conversion rate is 5 times that of our closest competitor. So our motto is between the bookers and the bookers.
So if someone has a rental property and they're trying to decide between doing long-term versus short-term, what kind of advantages are there for them to do it as a short-term?
Sure. There's really 3 pros to having a short-term rental versus a long-term rental. One is the revenue is 2 to 3 times that of a long-term rental. 2, the home is actually safer with a short-term rental program than a long-term rental program because after every stay, the home is inspected. So it's inspected for what the guest may have done, which is very, very extremely rare, or just normal wear and tear. So we have in-house cleaners, we have in-house handymen. We train our cleaners to get to know the house. So our cleaners are assigned 3 homes. And they only get those 3 homes. They get to know those 3 homes. And when they walk in and they hear the furnace making a noise, that's not normal. Why is the furnace making a noise? So we get it fixed right away, or something's leaking, or the window is not closing all the way, and just stuff like that you fix right away. Right? So we'll cut a work order and our handyman goes over there. We repair probably 90% any of issues within the home with our internal resources. All right, we can pretty much handle any kind of work order that doesn't require a permit. Okay, so we have a lot of flexibility with our internal resources. Also, we repair probably about 90% of the issues before the next check-in. So we'll have someone checking out at 10, we'll have someone checking in 4. We can have a handyman over there within those 6 hours to fix whatever's doing. So the next guest doesn't know it's occurring. So we are truly a full service model. Now, back to short versus long. The last pro of it is you get to use the home. Where with the long term, you have a year lease or a year lease plus. That's their home, right? Where you can actually block dates within our system for you to use the home. So if you want to entertain family, or if you live out of state, you want to use the home, you can be able to do that, right?
Well, what I love about kind of your company and what you've described so far, and you and I have gotten to know each other as well, is, I think it's so mind blowing to wrap your head around 2 to 3 times the revenue. And I think a lot of people, their hangups about going the short-term rental route is that idea of the headache of it. And you really pull that out. Your company is able to handle all the, the management of it, all of the maintenance of it, and then all of those advantages you've described. So I think that's really key. So kind of going back to kind of the best practices, kind of you talked about, one of them is making sure you're listing it in the right way. And when people work with your company, that's something you're doing, you're optimizing. What are some of the other tips or the best practices for people who are doing short-term rentals?
Well, to be honest, the best thing you could do is engage a property manager. You want someone, it's a 24/7 job, it's a 24/7 program, and people who self-manage don't have 24/7. So some of the things that I see people doing that aren't maximizing return on investment is they're listing it on Airbnb and nobody else. Now, to put it in perspective, we have recently taken over a self-managed home here in Evergreen. And the owner was very proud of himself that he did $100,000 gross on Airbnb. If he had a multi-platform, he would have done $160,000. So he left $60,000 on the table. So we're actually going to gain that for them next year, 2023. All right. So you want to have a multi-platform strategy. You also have to have resources. You have to have people on a Rolodex to call that could actually show up. And with the demand of contractors in our local economy, that's hard to do. People have lots of business; they don't need yours. So you must have a good group of vendors to maintain the home, right? And people don't have that. I get phone calls all the time. Can you come over and plow my short-term rental? Because we have our own plow trucks. We can't do that. We have to be under contract to do it. But they can't find someone to even take care of their own snow. So you want to have that robust contractor list. Next, we actually coach a lot of our a lot of our clients to not invest so much in the home. A 5-star review is really made up of getting the home as clean as possible and getting an early check-in. You don't need a TV in every room. You know what you need? You need stronger Wi-Fi. Put that money that you're going to put into TVs, put it into a Wi-Fi, up the speed by 100. Because people now travel with tablets and they watch TV on their tablets now. So don't do that. And also furniture. People like space. You don't have to have that 5th chair. Take that chair out to 4 chairs, right? Also, when people try to have a program, they think if I allow 10 people, I'll make more money instead of having 6, right? It really doesn't. The difference between having a home between 6 and 10, the money is very, very little. But what you will have is you'll have more control over your home, right? If you only allow 6 people, only 6 people show up, you get more of a group that is more self-conscious, right? They're here for a Red Rocks concert. They go into the Red Rocks concert and they're going to sleep at your house, okay? And you don't have 10 people coming back. You have 6 people coming back. So it's not always the more people means more money, okay?
When people are like investors are kind of deciding what is the best type of short-term rental, is that something that your company can kind of consult in? Like if they're looking at buying a few properties and they're trying to decide which one to buy, is that something you can give input on?
We do all the time. And back to the more people, the bigger the home doesn't mean the more revenue. In this market with COVID, we've seen our travel groups become smaller and also our booking windows become shorter. A booking window is when someone books to when they check in. So pre-COVID, our booking window was probably 60 days, okay? Today it's less than 21.
Oh,
so
wow.
People make up a quick mind. So you want to have flexibility with your home. So the parties have gotten a lot smaller because getting a group of 10 or 15 to travel takes a lot of logistics. Right? You buy a ticket, what kind of car we're going to get. When you have 4 to 6 people, it's easy, so having that 2 to 3 bedroom home, you will have more of a demand. You'll have a lot more bookings. Your ROI will be a lot better, right? Because you're paying less for that home and you're getting more revenue.
As far as location, I think you mentioned kind of at the top of our conversation that, Colorado is such a great destination. And seasonally, there's different times of year that people are coming here. And then certain locations are kind of better than others. Is there kind of thoughts around that or trends as far as kind of where, obviously near Red Rocks is very popular, but are you seeing that like throughout the year, downtown can be just as popular, or is there kind of more ups and downs?
So the best market for a 12-month season is downtown Denver.
Okay.
So, but the city of Denver also has owner occupancy requirements, so it has to be your primary residence. So if you could show the city that the home is your primary residence, I would absolutely open a short-term rental. That is a great revenue stream, and you can do that in a number of ways. We have a number of homes downtown that are whole homes that we rent as short-term rentals, and it's still our clients' primary residence, but their lives have taken them elsewhere. All right, so we monetize it while they're away. We have other clients that have what we call an ADU, or accessory dwelling unit, and that's a finished basement, that's a carriage house, it's an apartment over a garage. Well, they're still living on property. We're managing a short-term rental program on their property, and that revenue stream is so robust, it pays for the entire property. It pays for the accessory dwelling unit, the main home, all the taxes, all the utilities, all the wear and tear, and still puts income into our clients' pockets. So if you are able to have an accessory dwelling unit, I would absolutely do it in Denver. The second best market is probably Evergreen or West Golden by Lookout Mountain. It's right on I-70. The homes are mountain homes. Evergreen is called the first mountain town, and truly is. So the elk are here. We're office in Evergreen. The elk is here, deer are here. People love it. The shops are awesome. The lake is awesome. So and during the 12 months of the year, we always increase. After that, I leave it to my clients to find a house that they like. So if they want a house on Cold Creek Canyon Road in Boulder, go buy it. Because what's the house you want? That's still going to be a good program. People are buying in Conifer now because 285 is becoming more and more popular to get into Summit County instead of taking 70. I highly recommend Indian Hills, Aspen Park, and Conifer for a short-term rental. And the pricing is very good for buying homes in the local market. So if you were looking for a whole home, second home, those are great communities.
And you're talking about kind of here in Colorado, it's kind of a 90-day cycle, whereas in other parts of the world, in the country, it can be much longer. Is the 90 days like as far as getting something up and establishing the reviews and the cadence so that people book with you? Or is the 90 days like that time period to get like the logistics ready? Where does kind of that 90-day period fit in?
So yes, it's from when you post it online, and you can see the upward trend for your revenue. Now, before I get into that, let's talk about the market just for a quick second. The market here in Denver is Elko. So it starts in January. It peaks in late July, early August, and then goes back down. Okay. So May through September are the real money months. Okay. So if you, I speak to a lot of potential clients, and they have to do a lot of work to their homes, a lot of things that have to be put together. They have to get loans to rehab, or they have to wait for someone to move out of a long-term rental contract. I tell them, get it up online by April. You absolutely want it up by April, because once you get it up in April, people are looking to book in June, July, August, September at that time, and even May. So that curve, startup curve, is literally almost like a straight up and down line. Like you just boom, money's there. Okay, let's say you get your home ready in January. All right. It becomes a slower curve, but it becomes more steady. All right. And your calendar is open for the whole year. So you'll have some stays in January, you'll have more stays in February, and you'll be sold out in March because of spring break. Okay. So it's more like this. Okay. But and with that, we have resources. Let me step back first. When we enter a contract with probably about 80% of our clients, we almost have to like pull the home away from them because they want to do DIY this, they want to do that. And I coach them to stop. Let our contractors do that work because you're going to get up online faster. You're going to be making more revenue faster. So whatever you're saving DIYing, you're making 3 times more by getting up as quickly as possible. So let us handle it, right? So we pull those homes away from them, get it up online, and then they start really making some revenue. Okay.
From a budget standpoint, someone who is putting an Airbnb up, how much should they be putting aside for kind of those unattended, like a contingency fund for HVAC going out, for maintenance, for issues on the project?
Sure.
Like, is there a general range that you recommend people have on hand to cover that? Or is it?
If you want to budget, you want to budget maintenance. If you're not budgeting any kind of maintenance, you want to start doing that today. As a conservative budget, we say $1 per square foot. And so if you own a 3,500 square foot home, you want to budget $3,500 for contingency. And I've been challenged on that by 100 people in real estate. That's way too much. It probably is too much, but it's good to actually have that because that 3,500 will cover it. It could cover that's not insured, so it could cover the water heater going out. That's $700 there, or the stove. Guys, we coach our clients. Any appliance that is over 12 years old, look to get it replaced. If not, it's kind of like a Murphy's Law in the short-term rental industry. It's going to fail on a weekend, and the guest is always going to be there. It just happens. Get the new stuff in, do that investment. It's going to work out in the long run.
Do you is that like an annual budget, like annually, or okay? And then what's a reasonable amount to pay a property management company? Like, do you take a certain percentage? Is it an annual fee?
There's a lot of ways the industry gets paid. You want to understand what your property manager is delivering as a service to you. So we're full service. So we basically handle all the photos, all the content. We upload it to all our marketing outlets. We open up to Facebook, Instagram, all the 7 platforms. And then we handle the bookings, we handle the guest services, we handle any cleaning or repair. We handle all the taxes. We have a back house, we have a back office process that takes care of all the taxes that are associated with that stay. We pay the municipalities, we pay the state, and then we actually rebook. So we actually have a program where our guests may book on Airbnb, but then they realize they can save 20% if they book through iTrip Denver ourselves. So we actually have an after marketing program that gets the guests to rebook the next year. So that's what we bring. Okay, there are certain companies out there that only do the marketing, and what they'll do is they'll handle all the content, the photos. They'll put it up on their multi websites, and then that's it. The rest is the owners. So that rate right now is about 13.5%. Okay, we charge 25%. Right, 20 to 27%. It depends on the size of the home, how many homes we have with clients. So I have multiple homes with clients. Obviously, we get more aggressive with the rates. All right, if it's a bigger home on a cliff and it's a half-mile switchback road to get up there, we charge a little more because it's more effort. So about 20 to 27% of the rent. All right, and then I mentioned that emphatically because some contracts will have the transaction. And the transaction is made up more than the rent. So they say it's 13.5% of the transaction. You have the rent, the cleaning fee, the taxes, the insurance, and the transaction fee to a gross amount. So they're taking that 13.5% on the gross amount. If you really look at that and you compare it apples to apples to what our model is, you're really being charged over 30%. So you want to make sure your contract says commission on the rent, not commission on the transaction. Okay, so we're 20 to 27% of the rent. Okay, so our model right now, I can now say is the cleanest, the most leanest in the market.
And people, it sounds like when they're going through you, not only are they getting kind of that peace of mind that they're not having to deal with all of that, but it sounds like you're also getting them a higher return than if they would do it themselves, because you're having less downtime, you're more effectively marketing it, you're charging the better rates, because sometimes people undercharge. Yeah. So you're able to really give them well more than the value of what they're investing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you thank you for bringing that up. So even if you do it by yourself, you want to have a dynamic pricing model. So I actually do a pro forma for every prospective client, showing how much revenue, gross revenue, we're going to make in year 1 and year 2 of their program. Right? We rely on a dynamic pricing model, and it's the same thing as Uber. It literally, iTrip literally copied Uber. And so when people are demanding ride shares in downtown Denver at 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night, the price goes up, right? And the same thing with us. So when during July and August, where everyone is sold out, our prices go up. Conversely, if someone books a home 4 months out, right, they get a 25% price increase on their rate because they're buying early. And say it's a slow period, like October is pretty much the slowest month of the year. You have a lot of vacancy in the marketplace. If your home is vacant for the upcoming weekend, our prices automatically drop 20%. So we actually have a floating price to maximize occupancy. Okay. Now with that, every issue that we've had, right, we've probably had about we're coming close to 4,000 stays now. We've had 2 major incidents with guests and a lot of just turning into a party. That we did a post-mortem on that event. How did this happen? What would it put in place for it never to happen again? And it all came down to a low rate, right? So if you want to keep your house safe, you want to have a high floor, right? So if we have some beautiful 4 and 5 bedrooms here in Evergreen, and the price does not go below $4 million, right? We just take the vacancy. Right? And there isn't much because there's so much demand. But if you drop it down to 275, you're going to have someone book that property you don't want in your house. Okay, so we keep a high rate, and that's the safest thing. Also, while we're talking about safety, I think it's important to understand how to keep your home safe. So what we do, we market our homes to families. So when we have a photo array with our listing, we don't have a picture of a blender. We don't. We have a picture of a foosball table, a picture of a ping pong table, a picture of a set dining room table, which basically says family, right? Picture of a chess set, right? We also have a very strict rules in our booking agreement: no party events without prior written permission, right? And what I would give permission to, if the matriarch of the family just rented our most expensive house, which is about $1,400 a night, and she wants to have her brothers and sisters over for a dinner, she's allowed to, okay? If someone calls me and says, I want a wedding for 60 people, the answer is no, all right? We don't have weddings. We don't have graduation parties. We don't do anything. And it's just not wear and tear in the home. It's wear and tear in the plumbing system. It's parking in the street. We always say no, so please go book somewhere else. So that is in our terms and conditions. And we also use Ring doorbells. All right, we have a Ring doorbell in all our homes, and we've learned not to use the battery operated. The batteries, as much as Ring wants to say they don't last very long, especially in our area, because the batteries drain every time they get activated. And with the wildlife around in our areas, deer goes by, it activates. So your batteries are constantly running out. So now we're only hardwiring all our Ring doorbells. All our Ring cameras are all hardwired, so you have plenty of energy and constantly keep on. And then we use them on the outside. And the most important thing about having a Ring doorbell program, you actually write it in the description of the home and all the platforms. So it's just say Ring doorbell in use on the outside, right? That will stop other people that you don't want renting their house from renting it. All right, so you use a Ring doorbell. Okay, Then after that, we are extremely fair with our reviews. You know, if they left the home a great place and they followed all the rules, you get 5 stars. All right. If we walk in and there's a hole in the wall, you know what? Not only do you get charged for it, you get a 1-star review. So that's you have to do that, and it's painful. I have our COO of our franchise, this guy named Steve. Steve, I won't say his last name. Down in Nashville, he has probably gotten 30 phone calls about iTrip Denver and the reviews we've left, because you have to leave the reviews. Okay?
That's super helpful. Any kind of final tips or mistakes that you see people making with their rentals?
You want to buy back to the home. You want to buy quality things. You want to buy a table that won't hold on. You want quality product. You want it to match. All right. Give yourself do the work up front, which is furnishing it correctly, making sure you have the right contractors, making sure you have the right accounting, making sure you're using the right amount of platforms to market your home, and you'll have a successful program. Right?
Brian, what is the best way for people to reach out to you if they're here in Colorado and they want to work with you to kind of set up their short-term rental?
Sure. We have a website, www.itripdenver.com, and our phone number is 303-835-0729.
And I'll put that in the show notes. Brian, this has been so helpful. The final question that I ask every guest is, what is your legacy? What is the legacy you're building?
I'm building this legacy really for my family. My kids are looking at me working almost like an official. Like, what are you doing? How are you handling the situation? How are you helping them grow? And both of them have expressed interest in working in the business. You know, they want to start. They literally want to start cleaning houses and shoving decks, which is kind of cool. And then they'll get it further on. They'll probably be in management somewhere else. Yeah.
I love that. Well, thanks so much, Brian, and we'll include all the links in the show notes, and thanks for all the helpful tips.
See you, Pat. Bye-bye.
If you need an updated will, trust, or estate plan, and you are a Colorado resident, we would love to be your estate planning law firm. Give us a call at 720-706-0036 to schedule your complimentary 15-minute call. You can also directly schedule at lawmother.com/go. If you liked this episode and you want to learn more, you should definitely check out my international best-selling book, Legally Ever After. It's available on Amazon as both an ebook, a paperback, and an audio version. And if you'd like a free chapter, head over to lawmother.com/LEA.